Hello and welcome to another video with Average Guy's Garage. Today we're at the F-150 again, and we have a code that is saying that it's the transmission position sensor. So I did a little research on that, and could be the contacts, could be that the position sensor is out of, it's gone bad. So what I'm going to do is go underneath. I got a large piece of cardboard I got from a neighbor who tossed they bought a big screen and then the box was tossed out, so I cut the double-walled siding from that box and have a really nice cardboard to lay on now. So I've got the truck up on the ramps. What I did was I ran it up on the ramps, put it in park, then I went back, chalked the back wheels, put it in neutral, because with it in neutral, when you take the transmission position sensor out, there are supposed to be a couple of indicators, little notches in the ring, so you can tell whether it's lined up when it's in neutral. So the truck is in neutral right now, up on these ramps and chalked. Also be aware you won't be able to take your key out, so don't lock your keys in if that part of the mechanism isn't still protecting you from locking your keys in the truck. So I'm going to get the cardboard down, go under, and we'll take a couple pictures from underneath. Alright, we're under the truck now. Here is the bell housing. Here is your oil sump. Here's the bottom of the transmission. This one is marked S. Other markings. And this right here is the transmission position sensor. It has a couple bolts. And then up here, it has a clip that takes it to this lever. So when the transmission is shifted, it has this sensor in here that moves to tell you what gear you're in. And the computer wants to know what gear you're in. It's pretty windy and blustery out here today. So if there's a lot of noise on the camera, I'm sorry about that. So in the back here, right here is a electrical connector. Sorry, right here is an electrical connector. So we're gonna take it off, pull it out, look at it, and try to pull it out without disturbing the position of the this lever arm right here. So we can look at it in neutral and see if it's lined up. Alright, so I was able to remove this bolt from the linkage right here. And then I took this off, put it out of the way. On this F-150, that bolt right here was a 15 millimeter. Alright, so now I'm going to look around and see if there's any indications of if the position of the sensor is not lined up at this point. I'm going to look around this edge here and see if there's any markings that show where it should be in neutral position. Well, I didn't see any markings right away, so I'm going to go ahead and take it out. So I remove now. See if I get more light on there. I removed the wiring harness there, and it was pushing down a little tab that's on the left side, and then pulling. I used a screwdriver to reach up there, push that tab down, and with the other hand I pull it out. So I'm going to go ahead and take the sensor off now, and I'll be able to clean that connector with some contact cleaner, and then once I have this sensor off, I can look and see if there's any other anything I'm supposed to detect out there. Alright, these two bolts are out now that hold the position sensor in. Trans neutral switch, whatever they call this thing. And these were the bolts that came out, and they were 8mm. So a 15 here, 8mm here. Now I'm going to pull the sensor off. So here's the transmission sensor, position, trans range sensor, neutral safety switch out of the truck. I'm going to clean it up. This, as you can see, is still caked with all the dirt. Looking inside here, it looks like a couple of the pins are off color. So I might be able to clean those up and get better contact. And that may be the entire issue. Alright, I've cleaned it up a little more. And see this little, there's a little indicator right here. And then there's neutral right here. This, when it's in neutral, should be pointing directly in line with that. So I'm underneath the truck right now, and if you can see this sensor, if it'll focus, let me get down here a little bit. This is the mark and the line that's on the, I lined it up, but since that's going to be above my view, I scratched another little mark down here onto this plastic area so I can see if it's going to stay lined up when I put it on. So with it in position and the bolt started, here's the little mark I made earlier, and that's supposed to be lined up with that if it was going to be in position. So it is not in position. All right, I'll put this cable back on. Alright, that snapped in place okay. And I'll tighten up these bolts and then put the linkage back on. So there's a little wiggle room for you to make adjustments like this. Alright, it's all back together. What I realized was when I loosened this nut that goes to the arm, to the linkage, that it, when I pulled down, it actually took it out of neutral, so the position of the sensor, the ring inside, was off all the way down to like first gear, low gear. So when I put it back and put it back on and tightened it, it moved back, and I checked and it was back in neutral, and it looks like my marks are lined up again. So I didn't realize that it had moved it when I took this bolt off. So we're gonna go get it in park, start it up, see if it works. Hopefully it was just some corrosion on these connectors that was causing the problem. If it still throws an error, we'll just get another sensor and put it in neutral position, so it's a sensor, and put that in. I think they're like $40 or $50.